everyone, to another edition of the Cryptid Consortium Podcast. Sorry for our little break we took. Life got in the way, but we are back. I'm here with my partners, Mr. Gary Spikes Jr. and Mr. Nick Valenti. Gentlemen, it's great to see you as usual. How are you?
I'm doing good. See you guys too.
I'm here. I don't know about doing good, but I'm here.
But you're here. You're here, man.
Good though, doesn't he, people? He looks real good.
I do want to get this out in the open. If we're going to continue doing this, folks, there might be times that I'm not on the show because I'm fighting a lot of health issues right now.
Yep.
But hang in there. Keep your thoughts and prayers because I sure need them because I'm fighting some serious health issues.
Yeah.
But if we're going to, I'll say it. Jeremiah and Nick wouldn't let me do it. I almost quit because of my health. But they said to hang in there and we'll just take it. But so if you don't see me on a show, just keep me in your prayers.
Absolutely. So Nick, what do we got cooking tonight, brother?
This is a good one. I mean, we like to do the cryptids that people don't talk about a lot. And yeah, I know this seems like it's one of the other cryptids out there, but this one's called the Skunk Ape. Location is basically the Everglades in Florida. They've also been seen in Louisiana. Earliest sightings that I could find, I don't know if you guys have any other ones, but 1920s. And there's Mr. Stinky. The size is basically 7 to 8 feet tall. Weight 350 to about 700 pounds, and bipedal.
Yeah.
So just to start it off, I mean, we're talking about the Skunk Ape just because that's the name skunk. It doesn't mean that it gets its name from having 2 white racing stripes down its back. No, not at all. I mean, the colors that it has been reported having hair is brown, red, and gray and black, grayish black. Its name, the Skunk Ape, comes from how it smells.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're out there in the Everglades camped out and you're looking for this thing, you're going to smell it before you see it.
Right.
It smells real bad.
Yeah.
From people that I've spoken to in the past, I went over some notes, folks that have been down there, and they say it smells like, different people say different things. It smells like a dirty dog. It smells like rotten eggs, even a decaying corpse. One guy said it just plain out now smelled like excrement. That wasn't the word he used, but he said it was bad. It was bad. It's a family show, so I'm going to keep it clean.
Let's discuss that for just a minute.
Well, that was my next point. I was going to say that maybe the smell is natural, the skunk ape, and it serves as a biological purpose.
It very well could be.
Very well.
Or maybe it has something to do with the Florida swamps' high heat and the fetidness of the sticky glades, that the creature calls home. So, I mean, it could come from that. I mean, because I've been in the Everglades. I've been in Florida.
Or both.
Yeah. And I mean, that fetid stuff.
Well, not only that though, they also talk a little bit about the sulfur smell. Well, here in Oklahoma, and of course, me being in the military and doing all the swamp stuff, my wife being from Louisiana, there's 3 factors here. The mosquitoes and stuff are real bad there, but 3 things that I'll bring up. The glands you're talking about, Nick, 100%. This thing it's hairy, and it spends most of its time in the mud and the water.
Yeah.
So that right there, mildew, everything else. And them swamps stink. If you go to walking through them swamps and that methane gas.
But it's horrible.
The third and final one, there's I've had 2 reports in Oklahoma, and I have physically taken one myself, but it extends down into Louisiana and on into Florida. With all the mosquitoes and stuff, these things are known to find like salt licks or like oil wells. They'll rub up against, even old hog will rub up against that oil and get that stuff all over them and that mud. And they'll do the same thing with mud to keep the mosquitoes and stuff off of them.
Sure.
So that would be, if and I'm telling you right now, I've spent a week at a time in the swamp without taking we call it swamp. Well, I'll say it. We call it swamp ass. You spend
Yeah.
Nick, you've done it too in the military. You go a week without bathing, you get
Oh, you
rank
smell
yourself.
like, yeah.
Might end up smelling like a skunk ape.
You got, you got to remember too where we're talking. We're talking about Louisiana glades. We're talking about the Florida Everglades. What's in the Everglades? What animal? The alligators, and
Yeah.
they're ripping things apart. They're pooping inside the water,
Yeah.
along with all the plant life and algae. That it's just horrible. It stinks. I've been there quite a few times, and wow, it's bad. But the poor skunk ape. Everybody's saying, oh, well, it's the environment, this and that, and in the meantime, it's Bigfoot cousins in the Great Pacific Northwest. They tromp through pine scented forests, pine fresh air, and it's refreshed by annual snowfall. I mean, the poor skunk ape is taking a lot of shit.
I
The
Nick,
word I've been trying to avoid, but yeah.
sit in front of your microphone. We're audio. We can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Slide this way. Now,
how's that? Any better?
Yeah, right there.
Much
Stay right
better.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope that last part nobody heard.
Well, we heard it, but it was real garbled. With this new computer you got, that microphone is a very pinpoint directional for noise cancellation.
I think so.
So if you're doing this, it's not omnidirectional like that because you sound great now. But
anyway,
yeah, on the skunk ape, I got a question. And since we brought this up,
right?
Do you think skunk ape is Sasquatch, or do you think it's?
I was going to leave that to the end, but
okay.
I think it's a variant.
Yeah.
Of Sasquatch. I mean, you have the Yeti, in the Himalayas. You have Sasquatch over in Canada. They call it Sasquatch. You have the Bigfoot here. I mean, it's a variant.
Yeah.
Just like human beings, we all look different. Coming from different countries. You could tell somebody from China, they look different than we do. European-based people. So I mean, there's no reason why they can't look different.
Sure.
Well, the reason I was asking that is because we've discussed it in the past on this show about different geographical and topographical variances of a species. Like the brown bear from the Pacific Northwest is humongous, but yet the grizzlies are a little smaller. Then you get down to the black bear, and even up on the East Coast. Now, you will have certain variances, like here in Oklahoma, we have a wide spectrum of alleged sightings of the Sasquatch. But I've always wondered if the skunk ape variant, which they say is 7 to 8 feet tall, but it's ganglier and slimmer. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's because of the topographical and the geological variances from the Pacific Northwest, or the Pacific, or what would you call it, the Great Northeast, however you put it,
Northeast,
Florida, Northeast, yeah.
Well, look at it this way. In the Pacific Northwest, the Bigfoot, what do they have to eat up there? There's plenty of deer, moose,
elk.
Kinds of, elk, yeah.
Even
all
on
kinds of food, fish.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got that's fauna, but floral. They've got ferns. They've got moss. They've got all kinds. There's actually more food. Believe it or not, there's more food per acre in the Pacific Northwest than there is in the South.
Right.
Yeah. You got berries.
Look at what the poor skunk ape has to eat over there. Fish,
gators, snakes, turtles, fish.
That's about it.
The
skunk ape actually has to work harder for its food than their other cousins. So there it is.
In saying that goes right into the next point. They talk about the personality differences in between the skunk ape and the Pacific Northwest. They say the skunk ape is predominantly more aggressive than the. I kind of take that off. You go eating rattlesnakes, eating cottonmouth, and everything else.
Hungry all the time.
Yeah, and then you've also got the, how would you say, the population of people, down here.
Yeah.
The one thing that always got me is they always associate the skunk ape, and I love how you opened up the line, Nick. They always talk about the skunk ape is Florida. No, it comes up in
No.
Louisiana. I myself, I think the creature from Boggy Creek was a variant of the skunk ape. I call most
so.
of
I
the
agree. Yeah.
I
South.
think the one that I saw in North Carolina was a variant of it
Yeah.
because it looked so much, guys. It was totally different looking than I've seen up here.
They're usually skinnier. They're
Yes.
still built, but they're
Yeah.
not
Oh yeah.
massive. Like
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, continuing with this, the Floridians, they really do love their skunk ape as much as Washington State people, endear their Bigfoot. In 1998, native Floridian Dave Shealy, he came to fame in the cryptid community when he
Yep.
posted 27 pictures of a dark ape-like form in the swamp. He was on a month-long stakeout for the creature. I mean, this was all specific. He was out there for a month, and there's one of the pictures that he had taken.
Oh yeah.
Now, in the year 2000, he released a video just 2 years later of a humanoid form loping through, the Florida swamp. I mean, he claims that he was 10 years old when he had his first sighting of the creature in 1974. He and his older brother Jake, they were tramping through the swamps, and they saw a large dark creature about 100 yards away. Jake had to lift Dave over the tall swamp grass just so he could see it. But the Shelby brothers, am I pronouncing that right, guys?
Shealy.
David Shealy.
They were so inspired by the skunk ape that in 1994 they opened the Skunk Ape Research Headquarters.
Yep.
It's a Gary. When you get a chance, throw up that first picture I sent you.
Well, here's the
look
footage.
at this thing. Look at this thing going.
And here's the thing for me, and of course, me and Nick have had the great opportunity of interviewing David, but knowing that terrain.
You and Jay.
Jay, sorry.
There it is. There's a museum.
Knowing that terrain, a normal human's not going to move through that like that.
I was just going to say the same thing. That's some tough stuff to get through.
Yep. I've also been in that area in the past, and I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely correct. That's hard getting through there. Plus the fact that if you're a human, you've got gaiters on your lower legs. Now you've got all that stuff pulling at you as you're walking through, and you're looking for cottonmouths and water moccasins. You don't want to piss off a snake and have it bite you.
If you're not wearing gaiters or hip waders, that sawgrass will cut you like a slice of paper. You can't hardly go through that stuff without getting cut up. And just moving the way that thing is moving, I've heard people say that it's a hoax. They say everything's hoax. But the way that thing's moving, man, I tell you what, if that is a person, I want to learn from that person how to move through that terrain.
That's one strong person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, this is the Skunk Ape Research Headquarters. It's a swamp side attraction in the town of what is it? I can't even pronounce it.
Osceola, if I remember.
Opeechee.
Opeechee. Yeah, my bad.
Opeechee. It's right on the edge of the Big Cypress National Reserve. At the Skunk Ape Research Headquarters, you're going to find cryptid displays, statues, footprints casts, newspaper reports, blurry photos, toys, T-shirts, and coffee mugs. They even have swamp tours and a camping ground, so you can learn about the creature and then wait for it in the night. And I'll tell you one thing, while you're waiting for it, you're going to know it's nearby by the smell. Because people that I've interviewed in the past about skunk apes, they say it is, well, like I said before, it smells like a rotted corpse with a ton of excrement thrown on top. I mean, it is bad. So In 1997, a half a dozen tourists, while they were out on a bus tour, they actually saw a swamp ape. And while they were in the Everglade area, I mean, there's a lot of people that have reported this. There's been, and at that time there was newspaper articles on it. Stories of the skunk ape can be traced back to the Seminole and Makoski Indians.
Yep.
And that's back in the 1920s. Also, Everglade fishers and trappers, they wrote about the skunk ape in their journals. See, this was a big thing back in the 1800s and then early 1900s. These trappers used to keep journals, so they would write down the pathways that they took, good hunting areas, and the like, right? But in their journals, they also noted the things that they saw. For instance, a 25-foot snake, something like that, skunk ape. So in this picture here, you can see right there in the middle, that thing. I mean, right in the water there. I'd like to know how they can walk through the water without getting attacked by an alligator.
I can tell you this, that if I'm going through the water and I walk up on that, they say only Jesus can walk on the water. This fat boy's going to be running.
Mm-hmm.
I will make the attempt.
I'll tell you, in the 1970s is when the skunk ape really rose to prominence.
Yes, 60s and 70s.
Yeah, but like its counterparts across the country. That's why there was a lot of Bigfoot reports throughout the whole country.
The Legend of Boggy Creek movie, I think that kind of mainstreamed a lot of it.
Yeah.
Well, some people credit the nationwide Bigfoot mania to, a couple of things. I think it was sparked by the release in 1967 by the Patterson-Gimlin footage of the Bigfoot, over in Bluff Creek, California. Others felt it was due to a massive development of the Everglades in the 70s. And this is true. This is something I tell people a lot of times when they'll call me up and tell me, I've never seen Dogman before, but I'm seeing it now. Well, the reason is in the Glades, they started putting up factories. They started putting up homes. So it's taking away, their livable area.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're going to be seen more often. They're going to be seen by workers. They're going to be seen by the people that are, the construction workers, number one.
Yeah.
They're going to be seen by the factory workers once they got those things going. The people that live there because they're right near the Glades. I mean, it's all a matter of modern day. They're encroaching on their territory. I mean, it's where these things used to live.
I've kind of wondered since we've had the invasive species of the pythons, down there and the iguanas and stuff, if maybe that could even help the population of the skunk ape because it would give them more to eat.
I would think so.
Yeah. I would hope they would eat a lot too, because I don't want them pythons.
Yeah. I haven't eaten python, but I've ate iguana. Iguana's pretty good.
Yeah. But anyway, the first sighting, guys, that really put the skunk ape in the newspapers
Yes.
It was in 1971. An amateur archaeologist and an electronics engineer named H.C. Osborne. He was in a swamp with 4 other guys, and they were there for a specific purpose because, like I said, he was an amateur archaeologist. They were digging for relics in a Native American mound in the Big Cypress Swamp. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, the group all heard noises outside the tents. They exited the tent and check this out. They got out of their tents and they got their lights on. And what did they find? A 7 foot tall, and they're estimating 700-pound skunk ape was just standing there staring at them. But before any of the guys could, react, go grab a camera or something or a gun, the creature darted into the swamp. But the important thing is the next morning, the group made plaster casts of the footprints. And this is what I think was important. They determined from the different sizes of prints there was at least 3 different creatures in the area,
Okay.
and so they must have had other ones hiding behind that
Yeah.
original one. But besides the smell and footprints, they saw knuckle prints with opposable thumb pressed into the mud. So they took castings of that also. Some other information that I've gathered over the years about the skunk ape is that a lot of people think that they live in the trees. And that's how it gets around.
Yeah.
Like Gary had mentioned originally, at the start of the show, and I was going to say this, is that I believe the skunk ape is just a variant of the Bigfoot.
Yeah. Me too.
It does look more simian, more ape-like, gorilla-like, but I've never seen a gorilla that was 7 feet tall.
Well, I'm glad you brought that point up because, with me doing the biological type thing and stuff, I went through all the, like, chimpanzees escaping like we have on other shows and maybe orangutans and stuff like that. And every skunk ape description that I came across, they're talking 6, 7 feet tall. There ain't no bloody chimpanzee or a gorilla, like you said, that's 6, 7 feet tall.
No.
And it don't make no sense. But one thing I wanted to bring up, you was talking about the Seminole Indians. They did talk a little bit about back until the 20s, but the actual legends of the skunk apes with the Seminoles go all the way back to the 1700s, even up into South Carolina, down into Florida, because they came from South Carolina into Florida, and then from Florida on over into Oklahoma. But the legend of it goes even farther back to that than the 20s. So to me, that gives it more credence to me than it just being a recent,
Oh, for sure.
recent deal going on there.
I have a story from I guess you would call him a ranger, an Everglades ranger. I was down here some years ago with the company I work for. And the reason we were down there was we were there to protect a camera crew.
Okay.
And they went down there. We're supposed to protect the crew and actually protect them from themselves because they do stupid things sometimes. Oh, what's this? Look at this stick over here. And it turns out to be a snake. So anyway, we were down there and a Everglades ranger was doing a tour. And he had he must have had at least 20 people there. And he went near the water, and out of the water came a gator. And this gator came fast at him. He backpedaled, tried to draw his weapon, but he tripped and fell on his back. He had the peace of mind to grab his pepper spray. He pepper sprayed the alligator, and the alligator did a death roll on the land, trying to get that pepper spray out of its eyes and nose and all that stuff. And it rolled into the water. Now, I spoke to this ranger after that, not too soon after. His tour was over. And this is what I'm trying to get at. This is the part of the story that's interesting. I was talking to him about it, and I said, have you ever seen anything out here besides regular zoological animals, like snakes and gators? I mean, have you ever seen a skunk ape? Have you ever seen a dog man or a rougarou or anything like that? He goes, no, I haven't. He goes, but I could put you in touch with another ranger who has seen a skunk ape. And the story that I got from this guy, I mean, I got in touch with him and I spoke with him the very next night.
Oh, wow.
All right. And we sat down, we went to this little cafe, and we were sat down with coffees. And I think I must have went through 3 coffees because I wanted to hear every detail on this.
Sure.
He was out there patrolling in a swamp boat. Those rectangular boats with the fans?
Mm-hmm.
And he hears this thrashing sound. And it's daylight. It's actually daylight out there. And what he saw from a distance were 2 combatants. He thought it was a man battling with, he estimated it to be about a 15-foot gator.
Wow.
And he said that this dark figure picked up the gator and slammed it on the land.
Oh
And
my
then went
God.
onto the land after it and dragged it all the way in. And that was the last he saw of it. I mean, he was being cautious, and he took his Everglade boat past that area of the land where he saw this so-called man pick up this gator and slam it on the land. So I'm
Wow.
thinking, guys, if ever you had a story of a skunk ape, or a Bigfoot down in the Everglades,
Yeah,
this was it.
that
This
was
was
it.
it.
Yeah.
And he said he's seen some weird things in his time. He's seen gators that were 20 feet long and super wide and everything. I mean, he's seen a lot of natural things. But the fight between those two. Now, mind you, I searched him out, right? He didn't search me out. So
Right.
this is, I mean, he wasn't there to try and tell me any BS story. It's just something that he came across. It's like cops that, when they're on their patrol, sometimes they see really odd things.
Yeah,
I
sure.
happened to see a really odd thing. I mean, come on, guys. Like, I don't know no man that can pick up a big gator.
No way.
Slam it.
Aside
What do
to
those things weigh
aside
about?
from oh God, 2,000 up to one that big, probably close to a ton. I
15
would say.
footer. I mean, he estimated it was about a 15-foot gator.
Yeah.
So right
That is
there,
nuts.
Gary, there's the deal. I mean, this creature was looking for something to eat.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I'm not for sure if it was. I remember a story about like in the 17 or 1800s where a team of trappers, they went out searching for one of the guys that went missing. Was that in Florida? Was that? And they ended up getting in a battle with one of these things. Was
Oh,
that Florida or was that North Carolina? I can't remember.
I want to say it was North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm wondering if. I mean, because even the way they described it, they said it was like 10 feet tall and stuff.
10
But they
feet,
said
yeah.
it was tall. But
Yeah.
you might could even consider that if it's in. That's the whole thing. The whole skunk ape thing to me is a Sasquatch. It's just a different name. It's like it's like Sasquatch, Bigfoot, skunk ape. It's
Right.
now that I
And
just
they evolve and they eat. Excuse me. These
Evolved,
different
yeah.
they evolve to their environment,
yeah.
which gives them different appearances, different builds, different smells,
Yeah.
as we mentioned before.
Yeah, maybe that poop smell that emanates from its body, like Gary was saying, is the glands. And
Yeah.
maybe that smell keeps the gators from jumping on them.
Sure.
So
Well,
that's a possibility.
That's another thing too, though, is it's not just Florida. It's not just the skunk ape that you hear about that smell. I mean, how many
No.
reports have we taken where people
Oh my God.
have gotten that smell? So that's where I kind of think that it could be a gland thing.
The glandular, they can release it at will, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've never had the pleasure of seeing a Sasquatch, Bigfoot. Even though I went with a bunch of other guys who were searching, Oregon, Washington State, over into Canada. But the people I spoke to, I mean, that's just as important. I didn't get to see it, but a lot of people I spoke to said that it smells like dirty, dog, or it smells like poop. A lot of people say it has a bad smell. Well, you know what? I don't think Mr. Sasquatch whips out the Charmin, and starts wiping it up and making sure that he's all clean. I think he just pops a
Prime
squat,
example.
and that's about it.
I'm scrolling through Facebook yesterday, and somebody had posted a video of a mother gorilla holding a baby in the zoo, and she's literally wiping the baby on her butt and sniffing the baby. And how many times have you been in the zoo or even seen natural shows where chimpanzees and gorillas grab their own excrement and throw it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, monkeys and chimps, they will throw poop.
Yeah.
So you gotta watch out for those things.
I mean, if I lived in the swamp and had all that hair on me and that level of, I'm not going to say intelligence, because they might have it's a different type of intelligence than we have.
Right.
They don't have the sociological taboos that we have, but I wouldn't smell that good either.
No.
Just to keep that hair clean. I mean, you would not be able to eat, or you would spend so much time trying to be clean that you wouldn't survive because you have to use that time for finding food. The
Yeah,
average survival situation, even like a human or any omnivore, they spend 80 to 90% of their day or time, their waking hours, searching for food.
right.
Food.
Well, and Gary, to your point, if we're talking about a 350 to 700 pound Bigfoot, Sasquatch, skunk ape, whatever you want to call it, that's a lot of calories it has to ingest in a
Absolutely.
day's
Oh my
time.
God.
You know, so I mean, it
Absolutely.
really has to. It has to be out there finding itself a couple 9 foot gators, maybe some snake steak and stuff like that, and
Yep.
whatever else you have out there.
Well, it is. I'm glad you said that because one of the oldest, to me, there was the Honey Island Swamp Monster
Mm-hmm.
documentary with Harlan Ford. When they did
Yep.
that documentary, they brought in a ranger, an ex-airborne ranger, and we're known, as Nick knows very well, they call
Snake
us
eaters.
snake eaters.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
even in a survival situation, that is the easiest in between outside of eggs, collecting eggs and plants. That's one of the easiest ways for protein because they can't run from you. You hit them and hit with a stick and you eat them. You know,
Sure.
I believe that snakes would be a predominant part of a skunk ape's diet.
Diet. Yeah.
I
Even
would think so. Yeah.
And shit, isn't alligator meat very high in protein as well?
oh yeah, it's
Oh
great
yeah.
and it tastes good. I love gator. It's
Yeah.
kind of chewy, but
I
and
heard
I
it
mean
tastes like turkey.
Yeah. Tastes like chicken and turkey.
I mean,
That's it.
if you think about it, a six or I really would have a knowing the way animals work, even like leopards and stuff. They'll go after the smaller game. They don't want to get damaged. I wouldn't see one unless it was a self defense thing or a territorial thing. Seeing one going up against I figure the alligator probably attacked the skunk ape, cause the skunk ape to. I wouldn't see a skunk ape attacking a 15-foot alligator to eat them, but I could definitely see them going after a 5 or a 6 footer, and that would feed
Easily.
one
Yeah.
feed one for 3 or 4 days.
Sure.
You know what you just mentioned, leopard. Not here, but because we don't have leopards here, but across the ocean there, leopards go after crocodiles.
Yeah,
They
So,
actually go
so
into the water and grab them and drag them back on to the land and attack
absolutely.
them and rip them apart. I mean, my
jaguars,
God, what a scent
jaguars
they have
too.
on them.
Yeah, jaguars kill the caiman down in South
Yeah,
America.
Yeah,
I mean,
Unbelievable.
yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, they're land animals, and they go in right into that water and grab them. Damn.
fearless.
So that kind of puts things into perspective. The power. I know we've said this 1,000 times, but the power of these things is incredible. If a leopard or a jaguar can get in the water and drag out, a crocodile, that takes a lot of power to do. So imagine how much easier it would be for these skunk apes, Sasquatch, etc., to do the same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
Just a little bit of a comparison. I mean, it's
And
crazy.
we've said in other shows, I've noted that like a mountain lion can,
Yeah,
from a standstill, jump 14 feet,
14 feet.
and
Yeah,
a mountain lion will drag its kill up a tree. So you
yeah.
can imagine it grabs a 100-pound deer, has it in his mouth, and climbs a tree and puts it up top. So I mean, the power of these things. And once again, I have to say, people go to a zoo and take a look
Yes.
at these animals. Just don't look at their faces. Look at their paws. I mean, how
Yeah.
large those things really are. You can't have an appreciation for something
Here we go.
until you really see it. Aha, there it is.
There. Yeah. This is what I was hoping we'd get into.
yeah. This
Yeah.
is probably one of the most documented sightings and well known. And what's funny is I never paid a whole lot of attention to it.
Yeah.
Because this thing to me, I'm just personally saying this thing to me looks like a hoax.
Well,
You
this
think
was
it's an orangutan or just a plain hoax, Harry?
I honestly think it's probably just a plain hoax.
Okay.
Just my personal. What do
No,
you think?
I hear you.
if it is a photograph, um, I can see that it was probably taken with a flash, and it had to be
Yep.
nighttime.
Yep.
because the flash on all the greenery over there, and it's lighting up the eyes on the creature.
Yeah.
If that's a hoax, that's a pretty good hoax.
Yeah.
Well, here's my whole deal. I watched the Finding Bigfoot episode and everything on it and everything. But the fauna from the Asiatic islands where these orangutans are in the wild,
yes,
is so close to Florida. There's no guarantee because the lady never could take them back to where she took the picture.
Right.
So there's no guarantee that this didn't come from a book or something. I'm just saying, and I'm sure people probably rip me apart for that. But
no, you're playing devil's advocate. It's all right.
If it is a real picture, I would probably lean towards it's from the Asiatic islands, Eurasian continent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sumatra, Java, somewhere like that.
When I came upon that picture, I was doing research for the show. I was trying to find the date that was, published.
2000, I think 2000.
That was 2000.
I got it right in front of me right here. Hold on.
Or was it 97?
Yep. Autumn of 2000.
Autumn of 2000. Okay.
Yep.
Just wondering if they would have had the technology to fake it then.
Yeah.
That's what I was
2000.
looking for.
I mean, the story is great and all that, but I just myself, I don't know why with that report.
Yeah.
I don't know. I lean more towards the more vague stuff, like even Mr. Shealy's video of it being so far out away. That seems to me more reliable in how would we say? I don't see something being this close to somebody,
right,
of an animal.
Not only that, but it's the footage. Dave's footage, to me, is far better footage than that is a picture.
Yeah.
The stuff that thing was running through and making it through, and this thing's just standing there in vegetation. So that Dave's videos is much more impressive.
I mean, you're not exactly going to stand 20 feet away from the thing.
No.
Get a video
and take a picture that clear. No.
And even Dave Shealy's way he was doing it, he was standing in a hunting tower that had been there a long time.
Right.
And so, and the way he went in, he'd always go in the same way and come out the same way using scent blockers and everything. To me, that's conducive of. And he took this thing at like 380 yards, and zoomed way in on it. Might have even been farther than that. I can't remember exactly, but to me, that is more conducive of behavior of an animal that's trying to get away from people, or stay away from people.
Right.
Yeah, Dave's a pretty hardcore researcher, especially on the skunk ape. I mean, spending a month at a time trying to wait this thing out to try to get pictures of it. And at least they did get plaster prints.
He's got some great casts. Yeah.
Yeah, the knuckles,
and
the feet, everything.
Still doing it.
Still doing it. It's
well worth it if anybody's down in the Glades to go, by their Skunk Ape research headquarters.
Yep.
That'd really be worth going to.
Absolutely.
Oh, guys, unless there's anything else we can add to it, I think our film time is kind of up.
Yeah, we're pretty much burned up. But we will be back next week. We can promise you that. We will be back with another great cryptid after we talk about what we're gonna select this week. We will have it on the show next week. And gentlemen, have a good evening, and everyone, thanks for tuning in and watching. God bless, and we'll see y'all next week.
Everybody stay safe out there. Good night.
Good night, everyone.